These two have been playing against each other for a long time. One of them is now the #1 player in the world. It's Jim Courier, and he leads the #5 player in the world, the #4 seed in this championship, Michael Chang, both from the USA. They grew up together. They played a lot of tennis together. They have played as professionals together, and again today they will play in the semifinal of the Newsweek Champions Cup. This is live coverage of the semifinals from the Hyatt Grand Champions Resort in Indian Wells. It's the #1 player in the world, Jim Courier, against #4, Michael Chang. And very warm greetings to you, everybody. I'm Cliff Drysdale. This is an IBM ATP Tour Championship Series event, better known as the Super 9. What that means is that the top 10 players from last year have got to compete in 8 of 9 of these Super Championships, and this is the first one. Needless to say, there has been a great field here. The prize money, of course, is a big factor. 1.7 million in all, 235,000 to win it, and $4,900 just to show. And the points, of course, are all part of the ATP computer. There is, of course, a great field here as well, but it has been decimated to some extent. Not so much the top half of the draw. As you can see, Courier and Chang are still alive. Agassi out, though. He lost to Mark Rosset. Michael Stich in the bottom section is out. He lost to Santoro. Sampras also losing. He lost to Volkov. Edberg also out. He lost to Renneberg. So it is Ferreira and Volkov in the semi-final bottom section with a fiery Fred Stolle and Fred. So things really have been very interesting in this first Super 9 championship. But let's take a look at our contestants today. First of all, the top player in the world, Jimmy Courier, is playing very good tennis.
Well, he likes it out here in the desert. His coach is here, and this is where it all started for him a couple of years ago, and then he went on a rampage. So I think he's confident, but boy, they're happy to have him here in the semi-finals because, as you mentioned, so many of the top stars have lost. But Courier, the way he's been going this week, 16 aces, double fault. Service percentages, not that great, 56%. But look at those break points saved. He's got that big serve in, 12 of 15 break points saved, and he's pretty much on a roll. I think the way he's going to play today, we think of him as a one-dimensional player. But look what he does in this rally. An off forehand, back again, he gets another one, tees off, goes cross-court. Then the two-hander, the baseball swing, back in the center of the court, the slice backhand, runs this one down again, forehand again, then what's this one? The little loop cross-court. Lots of control in order to make that one. And so not just a one-dimensional player, he showed us about 6 different sides of him.
Chang has got some variety in his game as well. He won here last year, so there's a lot at stake for him.
Certainly is, and he's got all those points to defend, Cliff. I don't know whether he's got the firepower to overcome Jim Courier. I think he does pretty much as many things, but in a slightly different way. He's more of a counter-puncher, and he served 12 aces here, but 13 double faults, 48% of first serves. But Michael Chang has been working on that serve, and he says, well, okay, if I'm working on it, I have to come through and serve a few double faults, which he's been living with. But their break point saved again, 9 of 14.
You now see it here in the stadium court.
So he's converting half those, but his forte is the return of serve and foot speed. Watch this. Watch what happens then. He goes back into the center of the court, gets ready for the next shot. Again, moves to the right to get the forehand, back into the center of the court, out wide again, back into the center. This guy just scampers around, but the point there is that he always gets back into the best position to give him the best opportunity to win the point.
He's living in that field in this world of big hitters, so it's going to be an interesting match. Mary, talk about interesting. What is interesting to me, actually, about these two is that they have really played against each other and among each other, including, of course, Pete Sampras, since they were near.
Yeah, they know each other very well.
Player in the world, ladies and gentlemen,
#1 seed and picked by his peers last night at the ATP IBM dinner as the player of the year. Please welcome Jim Courier. The other 6 players that played were all on the hard-court circle, split like this, and they split it down the middle. An interesting thing is that whoever won in straight sets, Cliff, when you have players who have the same style of game and who are both so mentally tough, the thing is to get the mental edge right away in the match, and I think that could give Michael Chang a chance. I agree with Fred Stolle, who says that, you know, I mean, Courier has more guns, he's got more game than Chang, but if Chang can make him a little bit impatient, you know, and if Chang comes out, he starts out very well, very strong, this could be a good match.
So who gets off to the good start is going to win it, maybe.
I think so.
We'll find out. #1 in the world, Jim Courier of the USA, taken on also from the USA, Michael Chang. There's snow in them there hills, but it's a beautiful day down here, and our coverage is being brought to you by IBM. There's never been a better time to do business with IBM. By Newsweek, the most exciting magazine you'll read this week. And by Bud Light. If you want great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down, make it a Bud Light. Number 1 in the world, Jim Courier, still alive in this tournament. The next top seed is Michael Chang. The two of them will play each other in our first semifinal.
One minute. Ladies and gentlemen, semifinal singles, best of 3 tiebreak sets. Mr. Courier won the toss, elected to serve.
Live coverage on a beautiful day. Actually, the temperature today is going to go up to about 86, according to the weatherman. It has been tremendous weather. There's very little breeze, and that is a help to the players. You know, as you well know, here in the desert, it's a kind of a dry heat, so that it really doesn't take it out of you as much as it does, say, in Florida. 22 years old, Dade City, Florida, Saddlebrook, Florida, but let's tell it like it is. He also spends a lot of time out here because his coach, Fred, lives out here in the desert of California.
Jose Aguirre, he's given credit to for bringing him on, and Aguirre has done a lot of things for a lot of players. His opponent, Jim Courier's opponent, Michael Chang, of course, when Chang won the French Open, it was Aguirre who was credited with taking him on. And as Jim Courier said, well, I called him up a couple of years ago, and I'm glad I made the call.
Michael Chang, born in New Jersey, 20-year-old man. He also, though, spent most of his formative years here in California.
Yes, he did. He now lives in Henderson, Nevada, where he does a lot of fishing and he practices a lot. He still comes out here sometimes because there are so many good grass courts. He spends the grass court season still out here in Palm Springs. He's number 5 in the world. He's obviously got to defend all the points that he earned in winning this event and at the Lipton next week. If he has a good next couple of weeks, he could pass Boris Becker at number 4 in the world, and he's playing some pretty good tennis.
Again, a beautiful day here, beautiful stadium, terrific setting. It has been a disappointing tournament in some ways. It started out just as good as could be with a tremendous field. Only 2 of the top 10 players missing from this field, and that's how the Super 9 tournaments will be for the rest of this year, designed that way by the ATP Tour. It looks to me, for all the world, like it's going to be a great success. You cannot avoid the fact that seeded players are going to lose. So you get Edberg, he's gone. You get Sampras, he's gone. So as many good names as you get, you are going to have to face that. The bottom section of the draw really depleted. Nevertheless, got 2 seeded players in there, but it's number 14, Wayne Ferreira, and number 15, Alexander Volkov. The last time they played was in Johannesburg. As you see Richard Kaufman in the chair, and of course Johannesburg is Ferreira's hometown, but Volkov won that one. In fact, that's the only time they've played. These 2 have played a lot more times, as we've already told you. First point.
It could be a
Gotta come out and say that. If it's going to be like this, it's going to be a long day. A lot of first point.
But right off the bat, that point shows what we were speaking of in the match between these two. Here's Courier with all his shots and Chang chasing them all down, spitting them back and making him play even more. Love 15.
This week, and we've been on the air covering this championship since Monday. But if this is your first time, let's remind you again that the sun is a big factor. It is now 11, say about 11:12 in the morning here in California, and the sun is going to become increasingly difficult for these two right-handed servers when they're on the side where Courier is serving from now. Love 30. This is a live shot from the Fuji blimp of this tremendous stadium court. There's something of Caesar's Palace actually on that left-hand side. You see that blue and white kind of awning that protects the box seat holders from the sun. This is the major championship on the West Coast by a long way. It's the only Super 9 on the West Coast. The other 3 are all on the East Coast. One in Canada, Cincinnati, and the Lipton, Florida.
I'm very lucky with the weather here. Just one morning where we had some wind that sort of upset the players slightly, but just perfect conditions.
Quite as quick as Michael Chang around the court, but then nobody is. And it's Michael Chang who's got 2 break points.
Michael Chang showing us that he has become a little more aggressive and he's moving into the net. He volleys well when he gets to that position. Courier's passing shot, not a good one. It was up around shoulder height, so it allowed him to move forward on the volley.
Chang.
Double fault, and Michael Chang has broken first game. This is a best of 3 set semifinals. Tomorrow will be best of 5.
I guess maybe a couple of, after they've both served a couple of times, we'll get a feel for where they're patterning.
Time. Seats quickly, please.
Chang's got a break, 1 game to love. First set, he's taking on the #1 player in the world, Jim Courier, who has already. Matter of fact, I was going to say, really, let me finish one sentence. He won the Australian, and he's won everything that he's played, with the exception of a first-round loss in Philadelphia. 1 match all year. It's pretty strong. Early round results: Fred Wheaton in the second round because he got a bye in the first.
Well, the top 8 seeds got a bye in that first round here, and strangely enough, 4 of those top 8 seeds lost in the first round without playing. You know, that was in their first match. The bottom 8 seeds had to play first round matches, but he got through Todd Martin, which was a tough one because Todd Martin really gave him a tough match in Memphis.
In the final.
In the final, and in my mind, that particular week, Jim Courier played 3 very difficult matches and then lost in the first round when he went up to Philly.
They both lost in the first round, actually. Courier had a tough time winning that Memphis tournament. but he did lose in the first round, as we said, in Philly to Derek Rostaño. Derek got to the semi-final. $15 love.
Boy, Chang is playing terrific tennis. He is so alert out there. He's jumping on anything that's at all loose from Courier, and he's dictating this young match. It was a 116-mile-an-hour serve from Michael. That's what drew the weak reply, and he just tagged it down the line. It's all Chang so far. It's better tennis than he's played all week.
30 love.
Look at that. First ace of the day. That 113 miles an hour. That's a lot more. He's really beat that up. He had to play Jonathan Stark, the young American who just turned pro, beat him in straights. Then Mal Washington took the first set from him, but then Peter Korda played just a horrible quarterfinal match against him yesterday and went down easily.
Game point here for Chang.
That's one thing with Chang. He really has not played particularly well in his last two matches. Korda basically gave it to him, and Mal Washington after the first set felt that he was way out of it, 6-3, 6-1. So it'd be interesting just to see if he can keep this type of play up.
Michael Chang doesn't have a bad record for the year either, by the way. He won in Jakarta. He's lost 3 times. Beat Charlie Stieb of Germany in that final. 14-3 for the year, as we said. Again, not bad, but he's trying to defend his title here, and he will have to defend again at the Lipton.
Places like Jakarta and Hong Kong and those areas of the world for Michael Chang, he is bugged as much as Andre Agassi is here in the United States in those places.
Yeah, he's big.
Yes, he is big. So Jakarta was played prior to the Australian Open in Melbourne, and Chang lost in the second round of the Open, having won Jakarta, came down to Melbourne and lost to David Wheaton in the second round. It's funny how these players, as they come through the juniors, don't like playing against one another. Chang hates to play Wheaton.
Yeah, but Edberg hates to play Chang. And,
yeah,
you know,
exactly. It's all different. Courier can't play against Becker. Agassi doesn't like to play against Courier. It's interesting. And he's fought all the way back. This gives you an idea of what Jim Courier can do. Variety of shot. That's a lot of topspin, that one. You look upon his forehand as pretty much a flat forehand, but he can get the topspin as he did then to get back to deuce.
Change after, let's see, after about 8 points, and that was only 1 point that Jim Courier had been able to win. Now he has a break point here, second game.
He served an ace in his opening service game, and that's all he got in that game.
Then he was down
40 love. Big opportunity missed there. As Coach Aguirre looks on.
And in the middle with a white cap, he's sitting next to Gavin Forbes, who is Courier's agent, living in Cleveland now, IMG. Aguirre is from Spain, great clay court player, now moved out here, guessing 10 years ago, maybe more. Anyway, Courier followed him out here, and he is also part of the USTA Player Development Program, Jose Higueras, and the result is that now you've got a whole slew of players who spend a lot of time in this area. Game point, Chang.
Again, Courier, you can get impatient against Michael Chang, and he's already shown that. Do. I mean, at the Australian Open, he gets the short ball and uses it, comes in, defends the net. Monica Seles won the Australian Open. At times, positionally, you think of Chang just like Seles as a baseliner, but they do know sometimes that the best place to be to finish a point is up at the net. And Chang's form at net really is quite good.
Technically very sound.
Yeah,
and,
very solid, huh?
The Courier hasn't found the range on the passing shots because both those volleys that Chang has made from the net have been up around shoulder height and been well played.
He got there and it's good. Courier looking to the cheer up to see whether he will overrule that. He is not getting any pleasure from Richard Kaufman. Point Chang.
The difference between the Chang volley and the Courier volley is just this. Look at that. Not much on it. You can see the head of the racket drop down and hit the court. He didn't go through the ball at all, so he didn't get any pace on it. And Michael Chang was able to run it down. Six winners to Chang, 3 to Courier. Now, you wouldn't expect this match to start off that way.
I talked to Higueras before this match, and he said that his man Courier can't really get into hit the ball back from the baseline and let's see who misses it first kind of rally. He said that his guy has got to keep being the aggressor because Chang is so quick around the court. That does lead to errors, though. 15 all.
Again, this was a bizarre match yesterday against Peter Korda, who was spraying balls all over the place, but you can see that Chang has really cleaned up his efforts against
But
Courier.
as you say, Mary, different style of player. I mean, with Peter Korda, you're going to make unforced errors because he comes up with so much surprising stuff. This man here is a much more predictable player, hitting a far more predictable ball. Nevertheless. Game point. So Jim Courier is on the scoreboard, 2 games to 1. Chang has a break. We're in the first set, best of 3. Number 1 in the world, Jim Courier, taking on number 4. At least in this tournament, he's number 5 in the world. Michael Chang in the semifinals. Live coverage of the Newsweek Champions Cup. You're taking a look here at the view from the Fuji blimp, bringing this spectacular view. It is Fujifilm's own aerial ambassador, the big, bright red, white, and green Fuji blimp. We're delighted to have them here so that we can get some of these really spectacular pictures of a spectacular place. I don't know if the desert is your thing. It sure is mine. And I'll tell you what, it is magnificent out here. They have had more rain this year than, I'm not going to say in history, but anyway, the drought in California, as you know, is over. We haven't seen a drop of rain since we've been here. And it seems to me that every day that I have been in the desert, it's been this kind of beautiful weather. 30 winners today, 28 unforced errors yesterday versus Rosset for Courier. Chang serving with a break. To me, this place is like San Diego. Every day the same.
Beautiful.
10:30 in the morning, 72 degrees and beautiful.
What a shot. Again, Courier trying to be aggressive, come in on the return of serve. Trying to finish the points quickly rather than stay there and work for them with Michael Chang. And this is what Mary alluded to. If he gets a little flustered, tries to do too much too early, he can be in trouble.
Very nice serve, 109 for his second ace of the day. Again, he's not used to winning cheap points, Chang, and he's at the end of last year he was speaking about how he wanted to beef up his serve so that every now, once or twice a game on his serve, something like that can happen.
Well, the good servers will tell you that they expect on serve to win at least one free point a game, one big serve, whether it's an ace or an unplayable. At least one, maybe two with the big servers. One directed right into the body. Like a curve ball. Courier just couldn't get out of the way of that to offer a shot.
Game point, Chang leading 2 games to 1. Boom. Game. 3-1 Chang.
Courier was in trouble and he knew it. He tried to bluff Chang there. And Chang had gained control at this point. He was pulling Courier wide and Courier had to throw up a defensive shot. He decides to bluff off of this, come in and sort of throw off Michael's shot. But Chang easily put it away. Kept his head, just watched the ball, not the incoming Courier. And this point now earns him a 1-3 lead in the first set. That's just wonderful playing from Chang. He's jumping over everything. It's a little surprising to see that he's taking that kind of control. Usually you're under the mental pressure of Chang. Look at this, Courier's getting killed on his first serve percentage and Michael's keeping it up next to about a healthy 60. Jim, I don't think Jim was under the impression he'd have to be under the mental pressure of having to hit, face a lot of cheap points and big shots, but he has had to do that.
15 off.
These two belong to a group of players within a couple of years of each other in age, all from the United States, including Pete Sampras and David Wheaton. You've got Andre Agassi, and then you've got a couple of guys sort of knocking on the door. Now Todd Martin is beginning to make his move, and a younger one, Jonathan Stark. And I think in a way they compete with each other, and when Michael Chang won the French championship, it gave them all kind of a lift. They said, hey, if Michael can do it, I can do it. Then Sampras goes ahead and wins the US Open. Then finally Jim Courier comes through and wins his French Open 2 years ago. Since then, of course, he's won another French and the two Australians.
Makes it over. Doesn't that remind you, Cliff, of the time in the early 80s when the same thing happened in Sweden when 17-year-old Mats Wilander won the French Open title? And all the young Swedes around him, Joachim Nyström and all those boys, they all started playing very, very well. And, of course, the only one left in that group now is Stefan Edberg at the top of men's tennis. But it happened. They saw their buddy go ahead and win a big title, and they all believed, well, you know, if he can do it, I can.
You know who's not having a bad year is Anders Jarrod, talking about that group.
Yeah, won a singles title a few weeks ago.
He's on a comeback. He was injured for a while, had knee problems, but not just a doubles player. It's been a while.
31.
Since he did well in singles.
Game point here for Courier. The other interesting comment as he looks up maybe at the blimp overhead. Let's see if we can hear. He's concerned about something in the oven.
It's the blimp.
Okay.
Yeah, he said, you know, haven't they had enough pictures? That's what he's saying. He wants to blow up the blimp.
They won the last point anyway. Game point here for Courier. That's right. I want you to settle back and relax because you're going to be watching some fine tennis, not only because these two boys are great players in their own right, but it's not a question of wondering how they got out of bed this morning. You know, when you see a Peter Korda, for example, or a Goran Ivanisevic, you never know. If they don't feel good, then it could be over in a hurry. That's never the case with these two gritty players.
Both of them always come to play.
Deuce.
Courier did most of his practicing this morning out on the clubhouse court, though, with Higueras, which I found a little unusual. I've been playing in here most of the week because the surface, the playing surface, is a little different out there.
Another game point for Courier. One of the few badly unforced errors there from Michael Chang. Even if he'd made that, it wasn't going to be a winner by any means. It has been near full this whole week. It doesn't matter. And of course, it's a full house again today. Michael Chang leading 3-2 with the break. Tomorrow, live coverage starting at 2 p.m. Eastern time again, 11 o'clock here on the Pacific Coast. It will be the championship match, best of 5 sets. The winner of this match will take on the winner between Wayne Ferrer of South Africa and Alexander Volkov of Russia. Volkov beat Santoro, who in turn had beaten Michael Stephen in the first round. Here's the last point of that big swing in the forehand for
we talked about the fact that he practiced on the clubhouse court with a little bit different bounce and a little different pace. And on that occasion, Courier really happy with that. So maybe his timing, which was a little off at the start, made quite a few unforced errors in the first couple of games. But Michael Chang has really taken it to Jim Courier in the early stages of this match. Chang just checking the ball toss also. The sun there for the spot where he wants to get the ball. They both have that same sort of squash shot when they get caught out wide, both these fellas. And both occasions they've used it today, it's won the point for them. And the Courier's wrong-footed, so look, what he only got time to go back there and swish at it, just like a squash shot. Let the head of the racket go underneath the ball.
15 all.
There's that serve, 108 miles an hour. I think that Chang this week has mixed his serve up well. He has said that he's got to pick up a point or two, a cheap point on serve, and he has done that right throughout the week.
Michael's coach is Carl Chang. He's been through a few coaches, including Jose Higueras, who coaches Jim Courier now. But Carl Chang in the white hat now is the man who is coaching his brother. His mom, their mom, Betty, is the daughter of a career diplomat. She came to America from Taiwan in 1957 when she was 13 years old. She's also a chemist. Betty Chang in the white brim hat, just about in the middle of your screen. It's Tom Ross, isn't it? That next to her, yeah. On her right.
Michael Chang's agent.
Break points here for Courier. Chang serving into the sun. Only 2 of 8 yesterday, Courier was able to get against Rosset. He wanted in 3. That's wide, so he has broken Michael Chang back in here on serve. It's 3 games all in the first set.
3 all.
You know, Fred, you were talking about how big Michael Chang is in Asia, and of course that's true. And Mary was saying earlier about how the Swedes, Michael Chang actually said at one point that as American as he is, that he would love to see Asian tennis improve because of how well he's done, just like Borg did for the Swedes. Haven't seen it yet.
You ask the players about how big a man Michael Chang is when he plays in the Orient. He's called the Agassi of the Orient by some. I mean, Michael himself is shocked. He said, you know, I don't know how they recognize me. I've got black hair just like everyone else around, and yet they see me. You know, he gets in a car and they get on top of the car and rock and chant his name. I mean, he's really an immensely popular and important athlete.
Very solid overhead. Michael Chang lost it about 6 feet inside the baseline when he hit that clean winner overhead.
Love 30.
And it was the way he did it, though. He hits the approach shot, comes in looking for the volley. There, look where he is positioned on the court. Now he has to get on the other side of the court, back up, and hit that looking up into the sun. Very well played. And good movement. Unbelievable.
Say that again. I mean, it's something to be feared. It really is, that speed, because you can't get away from it.
15-30.
Courier's second ace.
I mean, Mike Chang's only 5'8", but he more than makes up for it with his ability to move. And he's not that easy to lob. You can hit a topspin lob over his head and get away with it, but it's got to be perfectly hit.
It's hard to imagine he's only 21 years of age, too. We seem to be talking about him every year. So, well, 2 or 3 years ago, the kid was only 17, 18 then.
From Chang. He gained more and more of the court as the rally went on, drawing more and more defense from Courier and finally smashing it away again. He's very sound with his smashing. Had to run in and take that one. We saw him go for a quick step, a split step, and hustle back.
Both
a
broken
couple of
once.
points ago, yeah. Just 2 breaks so far.
Courier saves 1. I had the feeling, Mary, that after his match yesterday, he breathed a sigh of relief, because after he'd beaten Marc Rosset, you know, Rosset was a 3-setter for one thing, and Rosset had beaten him 2 times before, once at the Olympics and, of course, in the Davis Cup first day as well. Six of 8 break points yesterday against Corda for Chang. Of course, Corda served a bunch of doubles as well. In that.
Gave him a few of them, didn't he? That's the book on Jim Courier, though. Once Jim Courier gets put into a corner, he doesn't get tentative, he gets more aggressive. And he's been down 15-40 in this game, and he's gone for both of them. And but his aggression's still is tempered. It's not as though he panics and goes for something too much. He plays, still has the ability to play within himself.
Courier saves 2 break points. And that statistic that you pointed out, Fred, in the opening of the show on break points saved for Courier is very impressive.
I think, though, Fred, especially against a guy like Michael Chang, who is so quick and will get so much back. I mean, this man, Courier, they're both baseliners, obviously. They're both mental battlers. But I think inherently he's a more aggressive player. You know, he will try to do more earlier. But if it becomes a mental battle, you know, in a long day, the edge could go to Chang because he's comfortable in the position of keeping rallies going and looking to create long points. Anyway, he's got another break point against Courier.
Puts in another big serve.
Chang walking up to have a look at the line, but that one was inside the line, 111 miles an hour. And Courier's serve is basically all arm. Just shows you the power that he has in those shoulders and arms.
Yeah, that is certainly true. You watch this, is not the near the shoulder turn that the big servers, Steve, Sampras, Becker, for example, McEnroe use. Not even close. On the line. He missed that.
This mental battle is an interesting one. I swear, I just don't know who I put my money on when the chips are really down. Courier, you see his reaction after this, you know, a little fist pump. Watch.
That was a good forehand there. This one comes straight at Michael Chang. You look at that, it come at him because he was looking for that to be more cross-court. And he drilled that one straight down the middle and straight at him, and that's the reaction when the volley missed from Jim Courier. Again, that volley, I mentioned that as one of Courier's weaknesses, particularly in the type of match like this. I think that Chang is the more capable volleyer of the two.
Fred, I've got to believe at that point, though, that he changed his mind in the middle of that, you know, because there's Michael Chang. The ball is a little lower than what he expected, and now he's thinking, okay, drop volley, and then he's thinking, hey, this is Chang I'm playing against. I've got to try to do something more with it. And when you sort of change in midstream, you're in trouble. Deuce.
Fine serve, 100 mile an hour. I agree with you, but drop volleys don't really work against Michael Chang because he's so quick, maybe only on grabs.
You were saying, Mary, at the beginning of the show, who makes the first move may win the match. Hasn't happened yet. We don't know who's going to make it. Oh, man, this is watching two of the best in the business on a perfect day. Jim Courier holds on, battling for every game. These two will serve at 4 games to 3. Chang's going to serve, and we come back. They'll take a break, and so will we. Number 1, Courier leading 4 games to 3. Chang to serve. Courier, the number 1 player in the world, so he has a lot of strengths.
Yeah, well, strengths and weaknesses. I've always gone for his return of serve and his fitness. The return of serve here today, not quite as important as it would be against a big server like in the final of the Australian, against someone like Stefan Edberg. But it is a return of serve and the fitness weakness I put down in the volleys, and he's missed 3 or 4 of those at critical stages today. Let's see a look at the return of serve. He gets around there, hammers that one, and is able to stay in points and move the ball. Look at those feet moving.
Wide, please.
Good footwork, little steps. That's the secret to good tennis from the baseline. Not big steps. Little steps get you there just as quickly.
Thank you.
And the fitness comes in if you've got to play a lot of rallies such as that one. Chang just waiting for some spectators to take their seats along the side there in his line of vision. Both players have tried to use that wide serve, that breaking serve to the forehand on the deuce court. Change over 7 and 9, so they're going to fly through the air a little quicker on a hot day today. Here is Courier taking that stutter step. This is a pretty good volley. You're not going to call that one a weakness, but that one's up around the shoulders. Those fellas don't miss too many of those. It's the ones that are down low with the grips that they have that cause the problems. Well, we're talking about the thinking man, and he gets this one back into play after a huge forehand from Courier. This one here really scrambles for it. You can see where the racket finished, and that lob right on the line caused Courier to poke it up in the air. Chang took the opportunity to get right in, and look at the movement again. Never looked at how much ground he covered just in that one point.
That one even off his serve. Normally this man's net game is based off of his ground game, not his serve.
They read one another so well, though. Even off that shot there, Courier knew exactly where Chang was going. Net points there. The Chang 11 of 15. That's terrific. Well, it was only a 72-mile-an-hour kick serve, but watch what it creates. And this one down the line, that's the last place Courier thought it was going to go, over the highest part of the net, the most difficult shot for him, the lowest percentage shot, and he made it.
Game point, Chang.
Chang certainly answered a few of our questions, because we said he's got to this situation without really playing great tennis. But boy, he's been spot on today.
Yeah, kind of he has to be, doesn't he? Plus, Jim Courier has got the kind of ball that really lets you get into a match, and Chang has that same kind of ball.
Chang likes pace, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He likes the balls he's being given.
Sunday night, March 15th. Actually, that is when you can see that midnight. You'll be able to watch Sunday's matches at the Lipton, and then we'll have coverage through the following Friday. You can watch the Saturday and Sunday on ABC Sports. So our coverage of the Lipton here on ESPN starts Monday, March 15th, midnight, Eastern Time. Another great field there.
Into everything here. Goes back, hits the overhead, back into the corner. Look at this, back in again. Plays the two-handed right in on top of the net. Look at the finish on that. He took about 4 or 5 steps to get right into that. There's the block from Courier that saves that point for a moment anyway. But Chang, watch what he does here when he takes this volley. Very quickly, and 1, 2, right into it.
He really he did a great job holding his ground, Fred. You'd think a couple of years ago he'd have hit that smash and then try to get back to the baseline and defend from there. But now he knows to stay at the net and defend.
30-15.
Jim Courier, not the kind of guy who loses to players who are lesser than he is, because he's the #1 player in the world, so everybody is. But
he's got to win them all, hasn't he?
Yeah, but you know what I'm talking about. If you check his results for last year, he had a couple of surprising ones. One to Henrik Holm, for example, and the big one, of course, was to Andre Olhovsky at Wimbledon. But outside of that, you see who he lose to. He lose to Sampras. You know, he lost a couple of times to Chang. He beat Chang 3 times.
Well, I called that match between Courier and Olhovsky for Channel 9 down in Australia, and he was just way out of sorts over there. Olhovsky, big serve, tall lad, and Jim just couldn't get into any rhythm whatsoever on that particular day.
Of course, he had gotten half the Grand Slam already because he'd won the Australian title in French. But it was his very worst surface, and the big servers, I mean, they're the kind of guys. It's not normally people like Michael Chang. It's usually the big servers who worry Courier the most. You look at the guys who beat him, and it's Becker and Sampras, and boys like that, Ivanisevic.
Steve.
Anyway, 40-15.
Holmes not a bad player either. He got the award last night for the most improved player of the year.
Courier holds on, and they are still on serve at 5 games to 4. They traded breaks of serve in the first set. Chang to serve after this.
And I think I want to make the point, maybe, Fred, that Courier had won it last year. Now, of course, this year he was player of the year.
And Medvedev won the week.
Courier's ahead, but we're on serve. This is live coverage of the Newsweek Champions Cup. Michael Chang playing well, and Fred, let's take a look at his strengths.
Yeah, they don't change very much, do they, over the years? It's the service, return, and foot speed, and he still has both of them. And the weakness was that he didn't have much power in the last 12 months or so, and he's working on that. This still causes some of the unforced errors, but he's picked up pace on the serve, and then he's drilling backhand winners today. And the foot speed, though, is just obvious. Again, little steps, folks. If you're there to get in position, little tiny steps. Look at those. The only time he really stretches out is when he goes wide. On this occasion, he's come back, little steps over there to hit the overhead. That was just a brilliant point.
Meanwhile, Chang throwing the ball up there, trying to figure on how to toss the ball to get it around the sun somehow so he doesn't have to look directly into it and see all the stars.
That's annoying, but it's a lot easier for the boys that don't serve and volley to have a look at the ball that comes back.
Oh, yeah. A bit of help from the tape for Courier, love 15.
Well, that's the first break for Courier. Chang's had a couple of net cords earlier in this match, and on this occasion, the slice backhand pretty much sets this one up, and Courier drills it down the line. Chang again looking for that cross court, but he had that one covered, but it hit the tape, and Courier apologising to him. So you know these fellows are good friends. They've played a lot of tennis against one another. Actually, that's a terrific group of young players that came through that old junior section a few years ago.
Love 30.
Love 30. Chang's in trouble. 2 points potentially from the first set. Just a technical point that you may be interested in. Watch Michael Chang and how early he takes the racket back on the forehand side. As soon as he knows it's going to the forehand side, he takes the racket back and moves with the racket back. He doesn't take it back at the last minute. Contrast in his forehand and, say, a Steffi Graf. He got it. Kind of frustrating when you get it over God's head with topspin and he can still stay in the point so easily.
Courier made a mental error there, though, because the rule of thumb is that once you get that lob over your opponent's head, get into the net. The late, great Harry Hopman, when we played Davis Cup, if you didn't do that, man, you got into all sorts of trouble. So what it allowed Chang to do then was to get back into the rally. Courier could have made a volley had he gone in there, and then Chang with that, again, the two-hander right down into that forehand corner.
15-30. $17 for Chang. Courier's got 12 after 9 games. All.
30 all.
It is the biggest championship on the west coast of the United States by a long way. The only Super 9, and the people come from all over California, Arizona, Nevada, as a matter of fact. A lot of people from Las Vegas here, a couple of pros that I talked to yesterday. It is jammed today. Terrific event, beautifully promoted. And it's just going to keep growing. I don't know how much better you can do than a full house every day.
First serve.
.13-mile-an-hour attempt. Oh, that is his first double fault of the day, and it gives set point to Jim Courier. A reminder that the sun is a factor over there. You know, he mentioned to you that he was tossing the ball up, shadow toss, trying to figure out how to get it around the sun without having to look in his eye.
You don't think he's just testing the theory of gravity when he does that, no?
Set point.
punches, Jim. Just
talking about Courier's fitness, earlier this week we said that somebody, who was it now, remind me, said about Courier that this is the easiest time of his day, exercise-wise.
yeah, that was the interview with Tom Gorman, Captain
Okay,
Gorman.
thank you.
So this is probably the easiest part of the day for him. His matches, he does a lot more.
He's that
before and
fit,
after.
right?
Yeah.
Deuce. Davis Cup captain Tom Gorman lives here in the Palm Springs area as well. Another set point for Courier.
And he took the risk again. He had decided, right, and he knew that second serve was coming. He wanted a forehand. He moved over and just hit it as hard as he could, which means that he has his opponent on the back foot, and then Chang's got to be able to take control to make the passing shot. He went for it, but didn't make it.
Deuce.
He's not going to be very happy with that effort. You don't often see that on a second serve.
Down the line.
Yeah, this slice brought some oohs and ahs from the crowd because it barely made it over the net, and Chang had to move forward on that, and having done so, he was in the mid-court area, so Courier took advantage of that opportunity to whip one down the line.
Set point again. Third.
And on another second serve, Chang defends. That one only 69-mile-an-hour serve. Michael still the one who gets to end the shot, the point at net.
Decision time for Courier. If he sees the second serve, does he go for a clean winner, or does he just try to get in the middle of a point? You've seen him do it both ways in this game. Third deuce of the game. Wide. Fourth set point for Courier.
Again, just a little eager. He was out in front of that ball. It missed wide, which means that he got it too early.
Boy, he's had 4 set points here.
I really appreciate the effort from both these players. Chang. They remember him for his efforts last year, and he is really a scrapper.
First time Chang has had game point here to draw things even at 5. Boy, it's hard to keep this guy from 4 set points. And the fans know that.
So here, look at the depth on this volley. What choices do you have? Well, maybe you can just hit a top spinner that gets over the net and gets a yard and a half up the line. There we go. Slow roll. And Courier's got to be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, he had a good smirk on his face. Jose Higueras, his coach, must have loved that one too. But in fact, I think Chang has been much more positionally correct in this match, and Courier has had to come up with stuff like that.
Deuce. Steps back, and one of the ball boys took just a little long to fetch one of those balls. Deuce. Another one at 5 now. 5th set point for Courier.
And Courier again looking for that forehand, standing right smack in the middle of the court waiting for a second serve. Chang knew where he was going to rip it. Great chances there. Courier only 1 of 6. Chang 1 of 4. Shots. That was one of them, and he had the volley around about waist high. Look at that. So firm wrist and into the open court gives him the first set. 1 hour and 6 minutes, that first set.
So interesting. We're used to seeing, you know, when you think of the volleyers in the game, you always think of them as coming in behind their serves. But both these guys, who aren't natural serving volleyers, still know how to get to the net off their ground game. And they're both doing a pretty good job of it. Chang more so than Courier, but that's a nice way to end the first set for Jim.
Ace, first point, second set. First set, 6-4, 102 miles an hour, 15 love. Remember Wayne Ferreira and Alexander Volkov in the other semi-final match. After that section of the draw was decimated by the loss of Pete Sampras, Michael Stich, Stefan Edberg, and Goran Ivanisevic.
Talk about serving volleyers.
Yeah.
All of them gone. Got a bunch of clay quarters left.
Reminder that this court has been speeded up this year after Charlie Passerelle decided that he'd like to slow things down, see a few more rallies last year, and then the players complained they were a little too slow, probably with good reason. Anyway, now it's, I would say, a very similar speed to US Open, Lipton, for example, more in line with that. We've still, as you mentioned, seen a lot of big serve and volley players shown the exits. 15 all.
Quite a bit of that has to do with the altitude also here in the mountains. That serve, that big serve, just goes a little further, travels a little deeper.
So that's why I'm hitting my 9 iron 160 yards.
Yeah,
right?
probably. Yeah, like the one in the bunker. It's going to get it straight though. But the big servers, none of those fellas have served particularly well this week.
(15:30) first game, second set. Four aces for Jim Courier. Michael Chang does that. He'll move back there to the receiving position in an effort to have the guy behind him, so give him a call. That was clearly a good serve, though. Watch what he does here. The ball goes by him. Now he's like, I'm going to walk back there to see if the guy behind me will buy this. But he didn't. 30 all.
30-40.
Courier has brought in another racket. You can see he's pounding his left hand onto that racket, changing the strings around. Maybe the tension is not to his liking. Similar start to the second set as Chang had with Washington. Washington won the first set in a tiebreaker, but then lost concentration, lost his opening service game in the second set, and was down 3-love. And you knew we were in for a 3-setter. So Courier has to be conscious of the fact that he knows Chang's not going to go away.
First game of the first set as well. First set of Jim Courier, 6-4. Chang's got a break. First game of the second set. He'll serve in just a moment. This is a Newsweek Champions Cup. As you see the golf course here that is just within feet of this tennis stadium, really. It should tell you that there's golf coming up here on ESPN. It's the Cadillac Senior PGA Tour as we continue our coverage live today at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Gary Player and George Archer are tied for the lead. Walt Zabriskie, Jack Kiefer are just about one stroke behind. DeWitt Weaver's a couple of strokes back, and so is Arnie Arnold Palmer. So today at 5 p.m. our continuing live coverage of the GTE West Classic here on ESPN. Looking very much like a giant box of Fuji film. The Fuji blimp is with us again today. Pilots are John McHugh and John McQuirk at the controls.
Downtown Indian Wells, there's some pretty good food going on down there. We at ESPN, we've been eating at a place called A Touch of Mama's down there. Good Italian food. Sally, the Sundial Jenkins of Sports Illustrated, has also eaten there a couple of times with us this week.
Sundial.
Well, she's been working on her. She's been working on her tan a lot more than her tandy. Let me tell you guys, hasn't done much work. But she did make one good point about this server here, Michael Chang. She says, you know, he's the kind of guy that saves tournaments that lose all their seeds. This guy is always, you always figure he'll hold his seeding.
Yeah, we were saying that earlier about Jim Courier. It's equally true of Michael Chang. He does not go out to players that do not deserve it. Unlike players sometimes like Goran Ivanisevic and people of that kind.
It's a pretty even match so far. As you can see, though, Courier has broken Chang the last couple of times, so he's gotten the measure of Chang's serve. Look how even things are in total points. Still, it took Courier a while to take that first set. Chang, as always, battling, holding off as much as possible.
Courier's got to be a little careful now losing that opening service game. He knows Michael Chang is in here for the long haul, not just for 2 sets.
30 love. Shit, 110 mile an hour ace. That's his third. Getting up in that 110 area pretty consistently now, Michael Chang. 117 on that one for 4 aces.
When was the last time Michael Chang served, or has there been a time
I was going to say that you
that
might be
Michael
when it's the
Chang
first
served
time.
2 aces in a row? So that hard work on the serve is paying off.
Big game coming up here. Into the sun. Jim Courier serving down 2 love. Love 15.
Love 15.
Courier won the first set from Rosset of Switzerland yesterday, then lost the second, came back and won it in 3. Chang lost the first set to Malawi of Washington, then came back and won the next 2 in the 3rd round.
Normally, Michael Chang very safe on the overhead. He gets in position. He's hit a good one. Shoulders around, gets up to it. Doesn't get the racket quite down there quick enough and frames it.
Like he didn't keep the left shoulder up, did he? Yeah. 15 all.
Well, I think that Courier's starting to rush now. In the last couple of games, he lost the opening service game of this second set. Now he's in a hurry. He looks as though he just says, hey, I've got the first set. I need to get off here. He's got to be a little more patient than he's been in the opening couple of games of this second set.
A blimp eye view of our tennis stadium here. Pretty sight. Beautiful day. Very little wind. can't get to it. It was a very well played shot there, that drop shot from Courier. Dangerous play, actually, wasn't it?
But that took a little bit out of him. He did a long stretch and a grunt to get back into the point, and then Courier said, well, okay, do a bit more.
Looks like he's still kind of walking off that last point, Michael Chang. His game takes so much work.
Doesn't it ever? You got to have strong wheels.
Some pretty good lungs, too, and a big heart.
Claims to enjoy it, too. I'm sure he does, but whew. Tough way to win tennis matches. 2 games to 1. Chang leads. He'll serve when we come back.
Where does it go? Oh, there we go. Court's even. It's a big difference. He's moving it in the deuce court. He's aiming a lot more to Jim's forehand.
That's good. This is just first serves.
That's the ad court.
Doc, this is only first serves. Okay, good.
Seats, please. Ready to play. Quiet, please. Thank you. Low 15.
Welcome back, everybody, to our live coverage of the Newsweek Champions Cup. We're in Indian Wells, California, in the Coachella Valley, surrounded by the Santa Rosa Mountains. Jim Courier won the first set 6-4. He's down 2-1. Michael Chang is serving now. Courier leading at love 15. Cliff Drysdale along with Mary Carrillo and Fred Stolle. Hope you're enjoying your day as much as we are down here in some sensational weather.
All. Quiet, please.
Very low humidity here. Of course, these players have just turned on their best efforts here in celebration of a day that really couldn't be better. All. Trying to attack that Chang serve, but it's not that easy to do. For one thing, you have to hit it very effectively because as quick as Chang is, he can run down almost anything. So
he's so used to defending his serve. It's kind of like Ken Rosewall, you know, your old buddy in the old days. The second ball he hit was always pretty good because he knew he had to be alert to a big return.
That's exactly what it's like.
serving or trying to serve that first serve, these are all serve attempts, most of them, as you can tell, going into the forehand side.
Both players
Courier.
have pretty much done that too. Michael Chang trying to break him out there. That opens up the court for his two-hander or his forehand down the line to the two-hander again. Not too much just straight into the body. It's been pretty much wide out or down the tee.
There's
another
another
one.
Yeah. Trying to yank him wide, pull him off the court.
It's interesting to me because, of course, Jim Courier prefers to hit the forehand. He'll run around the backhand sometimes during the rally. It's like that. How about when he serves to the ad court? Check the same percentages. This time a lot more even.
Yeah, down the tee, down to the forehand and out wide to the backhand.
Not going much into the body on either court.
No, as a matter of fact, there's a good reason for that, because this man Courier, he doesn't mind him into the body because he hits the ball very close to the body anyway.
Right.
It cannot be jammed, this boy.
He's got a good comfort zone from there.
Courier's a breakdown. It's deuce. But Courier was in a very similar situation the first set. He lost his first serve game then as well. And finally, at 3-2, he broke back. But here, at 2-1, he's got a chance to get back. It's break point.
It was just pace of shot. You look at the break point chances there. Courier's only converted 2 of 7, 2 of 5 for Chang. But just pace of shot on that last one that Chang couldn't control his backhand. Now Courier will be looking for a forehand again, if at all possible. And it draws a double fault. It's only his second double fault there from Michael Chang, and they've both come on terrible occasions. One was to give Courier a set point, and of course Chang got out of that position, but that one now gives him the break to get it back even.
2-2, second set, first set to the world's #1. Wayne Ferreira, Alexander Volkov of Russia, they'll play in the other semi-final match, and the winner will play, the winners rather, will play tomorrow, 2 o'clock Eastern Time. Jim Courier yesterday beat Marc Rosset. Michael Chang beat Peter Cord in a terrible match. Courier's match with Rosset a lot more interesting. 6-3 in the third. Big serving Birdman from Switzerland going down finally, but he had beaten Andre Agassi in 3 sets in the second round. It was his second round match, the first match for Agassi, because he got a bye.
15 off.
Might have that seated players by conversation again for your interest, in case you haven't been with us all week. The top 8 seeds get a bye so that they don't have to play in the first round. That means they can come a little bit later. But some of the players now who are seeded in the top 8 are saying,
maybe we should be playing first-round matches to get into the swing of things. An ace for Courier, 5 altogether.
30 all.
30 all. 116 mile an hour.
Well, that means that a few more jobs available for the players, because this is a 56 draw. That would make it a 64 draw where everybody plays a first-round match.
Of course, it was designed to protect the top players, because if they play week in and week out, of course, they're playing on the Sunday, and then the top 8 seeds are likely to be in on the Sunday, then they got to play again early the next week, and it takes its toll. That's why it was originally done.
Well, 3 aces in a row.
6 for the match. Courier holds on, and he's ahead now in the second set, 3 games to 2. He won the first 6-4. This is live from Indian Wells.
Time.
Comparison of the serves, Jim Courier on the left, Chang on the right. Fred?
Yeah, Courier, you can see Courier standing with his feet very close together as comparison on Michael Chang. So it's more of an arm serve. He rocks, but doesn't take the weight back onto the back foot. Just throws it up, takes the arm up, and a good extension. Whereas Michael Chang sort of rocks back a little bit on his serve. So he goes back onto the back foot to get that weight back, and you can see him pulling that weight through and leaning in, and that's more of a body weight serve as he throws himself in there. And Michael Chang right now is working on trying to get the racket head speed up around the top of the swing a little quicker to generate some more pace.
And it's working, Fred, isn't it?
What's interesting in watching those two is where their feet stop. They both stop themselves, break after the serve, so that they can back up and wait for the reply. A serve and volley or toss is further into the court, and of course they move forward off the swing and not back.
All those guys now, though, that are serving volleying are jumping. A very difficult one for him. He just didn't move and didn't cut the angle off. He moved straight across the court as opposed to take the angle to move forward onto it. But a lot of the serve and volley is now jumping, and that in the old days was a case where you used to bring the back foot through to take your first step, and that's not done these days.
Person.
Glimpse eye view just a moment ago of the surroundings here. There's golf, of course, there's tennis, there's swimming, all sorts of things to do, especially in beautiful weather like this. It's an outdoor activity place. Naturally, Michael Chang, outdoor activity, tennis, and he's a big fisherman as well. Actually wanted to be an oceanographer once.
No, I like it.
40 love, Chang. Problem with that is that he gets seasick, so he's still an enthusiastic fisherman, but he doesn't like to go out and do it big time on the ocean.
This just shows you how aggressive this young fellow's got. That little slice backhand was a good play from Courier, but Chang could see that it was not going to be low over the net. He took advantage before the ball got down below the net he was on top of it.
It's his third double fault.
Courier just standing right in the middle of the court and sort of trying to say to Chang, well, okay, if you want to go for a big serve out wide, it's going to take a gutsy play. Look where he moves. Smack with that forehand. He's decided his tactics before that ball goes in the air.
Still game point for Chang.
But he holds on, having lost 2 in a row, and this match is even at 3-all in the second. It's Courier to serve, and let's check in on the direction that he has been using here when serving to Michael Chang. First of all, in the deuce court, Fred.
Pretty much the same as Michael Chang, the direction that both of them serving out wide to the forehand, because they are two-handers, and if you can get it out wide to the forehand, get a short reply, then your opponent has to really scamper to make a two-handed passing shot, or sometimes forced to take one hand off the racket. On the other side, though, Courier's going to the backhand a lot more, and you can see he has served a few straight at Michael Chang down the middle. But
I think one of the reasons Courier does that, going wide and wide in both courts, is because Michael's such a little guy. He doesn't have the wingspan.
So I'm a great believer in wide and wide on any fast surface, because of the fact whether they're two-handers or one-hander, it still opens the court up.
Just so you know, we are talking here not only about serves that are good. First of all, we're only talking about first serves on serve direction, because that's so much more relevant. And secondly, we're counting serves that are attempted and not necessarily successful, because you just want to give you a feel for where the players are trying to go on the first serve. Love 15. Again, that first serve attempt wide to the backhand.
Took a pretty big swing for a ball that was quite low for a smash.
And the fact that he was on the move, Mary,
Yeah.
I was thinking just the same thing. He wasn't really planted that good on the overhead.
No.
You have a lot of confidence to swing at a thing on the move like that.
A lot of viewers at home regarding the serve, they'll say, well, why do you want to go out to somebody's strength? Well, a lot of the times that philosophy, the tactics there is you've got to get to the weakness through the strength. And if you can get a good first serve in to the strengths, which you might say that may be, then you can get to the weakness of your opponent.
I remember having a discussion when Guillermo Vilas was playing and Ian Tiriac was coaching. I said to Tiriac, well, your man today is playing so-and-so. I forget who it was, but I said to him, obviously he's going to go to the backhand side because that's the weaker side. He said, you idiot. They'll have to go to the forehand side. They'll open up at the backhand side and then they'll go in. You idiot.
He pretty much starts every every answer with "you idiot," no matter who he's.
Well, he does when he's talking to Cliff anyway.
30-50.
That really, he's got no base to work with when his feet are like that. There's no shift in body weight when his feet are that close. I think a broader base could help Courier's serve.
I also agree with that, but it's very tough to get these fellas to change anything that's working for them now. You know, he gets out of break point opportunities and with a muscle serve, it's difficult to say to him, hey, you know, you can get a little bit more MPH on your serve if you get your feet shoulder width apart. Watch how close they are. Look at this.
See, to me, how do you shift your weight? You know, how do you move the weight from your hips to your shoulders from there?
Straight up.
Well, as you said, it's basically an arm serve.
Yeah, straight up. Marty Reeson used to serve like that. Marty Reeson, the feet a little bit wider apart than that.
But he had a slightly more shoulder turn in his serve, and this is the thing that I would also. Here we are giving advice to the #1 player in the world.
Yeah, I'm sure he's going to write down all these things, you know, when he hears it.
Yeah, you're going to be seeing a completely different Courier at the Lipton. You can bet on that. It's 4-3. He leads second set.
4-3.
Really a very nice. Yeah, guys, very, very nice production qualities here at the bench. We salute you. Yeah.
Indian Wells, California is the desert's oasis. Lush green golf courses, row after row of majestic palm trees, world-class resort hotels and service to match. Only minutes from Palm Springs Airport, nestled at the foot of the picturesque, listen to the Santa Rosa, doesn't it sound, try saying that, Santa Rosa Mountains. Indian Wells, desert, perfect resort city. Here's a look at Hyatt Grand Champions Resort in the background.
Was that you laying out by the sun there, by the pool? Was that your body on that? I thought that looked like you for a fleeting moment.
The Santa Rosa Mountains. Tomorrow, 2 o'clock Eastern Time, we'll be back. Best of 5 sets tomorrow. The winner of the match that you're watching now will take on either Wayne Ferreira of South Africa or Alexander Volkov of Russia. Pretty day today. Hope we have the same kind of thing tomorrow. Very little wind. Excellent result, actually, because you're watching a very absorbing match. First set to Courier, 6-4. It's 4-3. Courier in the second. Chang serving.
It's not a bad effort, is it?
No. Started out San Francisco last year. And became #1.
That was just for 6 weeks. Then in April, he had it for 22 more weeks.
He and Edberg kind of switching in and out.
Yeah, and then from October, the beginning of October to now, he's been #1. Richard Kaufman. Trying to keep his eyes on this match. There's so much glare coming off the court. You see the guys in the chair a lot of times with hats and sunglasses.
Well, we're getting down to crunch time now with Courier leading, set in his pocket, and it's these next couple of games where somebody has to crack or make a move.
Delighted to see this week that Lamar Hunt is going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, the Tennis Hall of Fame. He's already in a couple of others, the soccer and football, of course. American Football League founder and started World Championship Tennis. Man from Dallas, Texas, Lamar Hunt, congratulations to him. Also Angela Mortimer Barrett of England.
The wife of a good friend of ours, JB John Barrett of British. television commentary, one of the very best.
Both well-deserved recognitions.
Now it's Michael Chang who's overplayed a couple to be down 15-30. Oh, a double fault. He served those double faults today. That's his fourth. But 3 of them have come at terrible times.
Yeah, but talk sun again, Fred. Look where it is.
Yeah.
It's right up there. It's just short of 1 o'clock here on the West Coast now. Sun's at about as bad a spot as it could be for the right-hander serving from where Chang is now. Break point. Courier's broken 3 times. Chang twice. He's had 9 chances against 5. Courier with a 5-game-to-3 lead has the sun behind him as he tries now to serve and get into the final of the Newsweek Champions Cup for this year. He won it 2 years ago. He's playing against the man who's the holder. There's Jose Higueras in the white cap. He is Courier's coach and really happy with this development. Chang, the holder, he won it last year, Courier the year before. They both respectively went on to win the Lipton. What Chang did not do that Courier did the year before was went on to win the French championships. Now he did win the French, but that was a few years back. So Courier parlayed this victory 2 years ago into a stepping stone to number 1. Love 15. He missed it. Love 30.
Well, we'd like to tell you that Mary Carrillo has left the broadcast booth. That's not a good omen.
It was the kiss of death a few
Kiss of
days
death
ago.
for Courier, isn't it? So he's in trouble. Love 30. Mary's gone down to do an interview for the winner.
Like being on the cover of Sport. Nah, it's not that way.
Not good enough.
Oh, he overplayed that one too. The sun behind him again before Jim Courier. He has really let things slip here. You know, there is so much pressure on serving for the match. I don't care whether you're number 1 player in the world or number 1,000. If you play tennis, you know that feeling. It's just 4 little sweet points away, but man.
Didn't do much with that volley though from half court, did he? That sort of put him on his heels. And he had to try and hit his way out of it.
3 break points. Carl Chang, white hat, in the middle of your screen. He's brother and coach of this man.
He's watched enough matches, though. The coaches, they just seem to be cool, calm and collected, but their stomachs churning a little bit. Rips this one down the line, and Chang just burnt rubber to get into that one. Then he gets the short line. Courier, they've played one another so many times, is waiting for that back in the corner at full stretch. Chang just really can't recover to make that one. That's a great point, good anticipation. They know where one another's hitting the ball. I'm just watching down here now because I think he broke his string on that forehand return. That's why.
One.
I'm just watching.
Thank you.
He picks up that same run. Yeah, he did.
So time permitting's out.
Yeah.
Time.
Okay.
Seats quickly, please. Thank you. Quiet, please.
Score disclaimer and match. Michael Chang just broke Jim Courier. Courier leading 5-4. Chang to serve, though Courier won the first set 6-4. For those of you just tuning in, we're going to stay with this match to its conclusion. We will go time permitted to last for the Subaru Winter Nationals when this live coverage from Indian Wells is completed. It is 15 love. Michael Chang serving, trying to even the second set at 5-all. He's trailing 4-5 now, and of course Courier won the first set. He served for the match 1 game ago.
One's long. When Courier lost his serve, he was down 15-40, and those of you that know Jim Courier know that he doesn't go into the net too often. He made a backhand approach, a one-handed backhand approach from mid-court and didn't have much on it and paid the price, got past. The reason for that was that he broke a string off the return of serve. I watched closely as he went over to the sideline, and he's pulled out another stick, another racket. So unfortunate situation for him there.
That was at 15-40 or 30-40?
No, 15-40. Well, 30, the last point, 30-40.
Oh, good coverage. There again. You see, they played against each other so many times. Chang that time go for the cross court, and Courier guessed right. He was right there for an easy put away volley, and it's 15-30. But you take a chance when you do that, because as well as Chang passes, of course, it's the right thing to do. You've got to guess one way or the other, because you cannot cover both.
Pulled right across his body on that forehand, Chang, as he tried to go over the net down to pull his forehand side.
The crowd realize that this match is just one stroke away from being over. Match points, both of them. 2 potentially for Courier.
Changed his mind on that one because he pulled off it, fell all the way back on the back foot, and that one barely was about 6 inches up the net. Still a match point though. This is where it started for him 2 years ago. He went on to win the Lipton. Can he do it again? He's got to be a pretty good chance.
Lost the first game of the first set, lost the first game of the second set, but came back and won them both 4-4 over Michael Chang. We'll be back.